In this video, I'm going to share with you how I took my company to 8 figures selling low ticket digital products. So things like $200 courses. I'm going to share with you everything that I did. In case you're new here, my name is Maria Wendt. I've sold over $15 million with digital products, low ticket products. And what I really want to do in this video is share with you some of the mistakes that I have made along the way and what I did right so that you can get there a lot faster. Because I've been doing this for 13 years. So I've been doing this for a very long time. I would love for you to see results faster. I mean, for me, in my first year, I only made like $63 in my first year. So I would love in this video to share with you some of the things I did well so you can get there faster. Just so you know, 7 figures, 8 figures, in case you are very new and you aren't familiar with the term, 7 figures is when you're making over $1 million in cash collected in a period of a year. And then 8 figures is when you're making over $10 million in a period of a year in cash collected. This is top line revenue. It's not profit, so it's not what I take home. Every month, my profit margins are around 30 to 50%. So just so you know that terminology when someone says, oh, I'm an 8 figure earner, I'm a 7 figure earner, just so you know what that is. So perfect. Let's do this. I want to get into what I did here. There's 6 core things that help scale my business up to 8 figures with digital products. And I'm looking over here because I've got my notes and I just don't want to forget anything because there's so many good things. So let's just take it one at a time. I'm going to share with you what I did. Make sure the shirt stays on. This is low. Sorry, guys. Okay, so first thing that I did is I followed this book perfectly. And I'm sharing this first before any of my other tips because I do think that if you get this book, and again, I'm not paid to endorse this book. I wish I was. I endorse it all the time. But this is just a book that has helped me not just get to 8 figures, but it also helped me get to my first 7 figures, so my first $1 million. This book is broken up into stages. So stage 1 is 0 to $1 million. Stage 2 is 1 million to 10 million. Stage 3 is where I'm at now, where I'm trying to go from 10 million to 50 million. And then stage 4 is 50 million to 100 million and beyond. So Michael Masterson wrote the book. If you've been in my world for a while, you know that I talk about this book and Michael Masterson all the time. I really love it. The reason why I'm starting here and why I'm recommending you do too is because you do not have to reinvent the wheel. You do not have to figure this out all by yourself in the best way possible. You aren't special and you can follow what other people say works. And that's what I've always done so well. I've always done what worked well for other people. And then I wasn't shocked when it worked well for me. So step number one, where you should start is with this book. I highly recommend it. I'm not even sure if it's in print right now. Some of my students have mentioned that they've been having trouble getting their hands on it just because it's an older book. It was written, actually, I don't know when it was written, but yeah, a while ago. Looks like 2008. Yeah, it looks like 2008. So, yeah, 2008. So sometimes you can find it in print, sometimes you can't, but it's really, really good. And students of mine who have started following it are starting to also experience their first 7 figure years following it. So highly recommend it. Number 2, I have a very strong reason why. So some of the things that I've had to do to go from making nothing to making 8 figures have required me to be very connected to my why. Sometimes, and again, I'm not here to sugarcoat it. Like I always give it to you exactly how it is. Getting to 8 figures requires you to just really prioritize what you want out of life. And for me, my why is I wanted to be with my daughter. I have a 3-year-old daughter. I'm a single mama to her, and I want to spend my time with her and not on calls or at work. And so I somehow wanted, and I had this belief that I could make a ton of money and work less. And that's really what I've been able to do. In my business, I have a few days a month. I work about 9 hours a week. And those are typically all on one day. And it's what I call my leveraged day. So, leveraged day would be a day like today where I'm sitting and I'm just filming YouTube videos and I made some content for Instagram. And then Friday or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like the rest of the week, I'm just going to be at the library with her or at Disneyland. We're going to Disneyland on Sunday, like just stay-at-home mama stuff. I don't usually look like this. I don't usually do stuff like this. Usually I'm just taking care of a 3-year-old. And that was my why. That's what I really wanted. I really wanted to be with her. And so my why was strong enough for me to figure out how to do this. And I think that's so important. I think that if you don't have a why, you're not going to stick with all the little pitfalls that come from trying to start and scale. And so for me, having a why was really important. Um, yeah, I wrote living a peaceful life with my daughter and not having to work too hard was my why. So moving on to three, um, I made very helpful products. So if you've been a customer of mine, you know what my products are like. I have about a 60% repeat customer rate, meaning 60% of my orders, 60% of my customers are repeat customers. And the industry average, in case you didn't know, is like 15% to 30%. So I'm at least twice as good as the average person in getting repeat customers, if not 4 times as good. Meaning I make really good products that make people want to buy from me again and again and again. And that is a huge reason why I was able to scale up to 8 figures with low ticket instead of 7 figures, because of my ability to have repeat customers. I think the other reason why my products are so good is because I am teaching very specific skills. So I'm teaching email marketing or how to make more sales with Instagram stories. Very, very, very specific skills tend to do very, very well with low ticket. And so I think a lot of people don't do well with their low ticket products because they aren't solving problems that people actually have. They're not solving problems people are willing to pay to solve. And with low ticket, just so you know, pro tip, like if you're selling something that's $300 or less, the more specific, the better. So don't create a low ticket product called the Academy. Create a low ticket product called how to get your first 7 students, like piano lesson students, right? Let's say you're teaching piano teachers how to get more students or something. Like how to get your first 7 piano students. How to sell your first 10,000 stickers. I'm just making up things at this point. How to have 2 dates per week with your husband if you're a sex and intimacy coach, just for example. The more specific the problem is, the more helpful it is, and the more sales you'll make. Number 4 is the upsell game. I mastered the upsell game. Now, if you don't know what the upsell game is, I'm just going to really quickly show you. So a low ticket fund. Oh, this is so big. Let me zoom out here. Hang on. Let me zoom out. There we go. Okay, so I want you to understand, in case you don't know what an upsell funnel is, you start with one product. It's typically around, like, let's just say $27. Then you offer what's called an order bump, and that's usually, let's just say $47. That is called an order bump because it bumps up the order value. So it's an additional thing. It's kind of like when you go to McDonald's and they're like, would you like fries with that? That's an order bump. Then you have these things called upsells. And upsell is like another offer you offer right after they've bought the first one. So that could be like $57. I'm kind of running out of room here, but there's usually, just so you know, there's usually like, I do like 5 upsells. So a lot. And you don't have to buy them, but a lot of people do. And what this does is this turns a $24 order, so like or like a $27 order, into like a $400 order. So if most people only did this one, they would just make $27 and that would be the end of it. I have a really well thought out, really strategic upsell funnel, and I will turn it into a $400 order. And that is where all the profit comes from. It's how I make bank. If I was just doing this one here, I would not be running an 8-figure business. I've mastered the upsell game. Okay, number 5 is that, okay, so this is a really important one. I obsessively read books that are not in my industry. So I don't read trending books like Mel Robbins, Let Them, or other ones. They're not bad at all. But I find so much more value in reading books that are 50 years or older, or like even this one, like 2008. This is a very, like, relative to all the new business books that are coming out, relative to the current people in our industry. This is almost 20 years old. That's in the life cycle of popular books. A 20-year-old book is a lot older than a book that was published last week. And so I really like reading books that are older and books that have stood at least somewhat the test of time. I'm reading one right now. It's called 12 Business Adventures, and Bill Gates said it was like the best book ever written. And it was like, it's talking about like the invention of the Xerox machine. But the business lessons I'm learning are very helpful. And it's different than most people where you're kind of getting like current, like I just find that most modern books are very fluffy and aren't very practical. Old books that I read are very helpful. The other thing that I do is I do a lot of reading, by the way. That should just be like a lesson right then and there is like I do a ton of reading or I listen to a lot of books when I drive Ellie like all over town for our adventures. Um, I Other thing that I do is I read books that aren't in my industry at all. So I read, but that will help me teach my students better. So one of the books I'm reading is called like I think Keywords and Frameworks, something in frameworks. I think it's keywords and frameworks. But it's basically written by a scientist and it's about how to catalog and organize information visually. So even like little frameworks like this one's not a very good one because it's not really like a proper framework, but like you ever see like people who do frameworks where they'll draw out a triangle and they'll have like the first one and the second one or they'll have like a little box like this and they'll break it into four. Like these are frameworks. These are things that help people visually understand information. And the better I get at them, the better I'm able to teach complicated marketing topics, complicated business topics in a way that's understandable for everyone. And I really liked that book. And that's just one example of the kind of books that I read that aren't necessarily related to the business industry at all, but do a really good job helping me think about my industry better. So become an obsessive reader and try to look for books that aren't in your industry, but that might help you. All right, so last one, 6. And sorry, I'm kind of looking down at my notes, but I just really don't want to forget anything. I spent a ton of time scripting these for you guys, so I don't want to forget anything. So I'm going to give you the last one, and then I'm going to show you like how to get a step-by-step guide. If you want to get started on all of this, I'm going to show you how to get a step-by-step guide because I'll show you how to do it. Step number 6 is that I changed my identity to become a content creator. That's really the big thing that got me from 7 figures to 8 figures is I stopped thinking of myself as a business owner and I started thinking of myself as a content creator. And this is really important because when you're selling low ticket products, you need traffic. You need people to look at your checkout page. That's a big problem that you're trying to solve. And so what creates traffic? Ads can create traffic, right? Someone sees an ad, they click it, they go to your checkout page, but also content can create traffic. So someone sees an Instagram reel and then they click my link in bio and then they buy from me. And so I changed my mindset to become a content creator. And so what would content creators do? Well, they remember to film themselves when they're doing something filmable. They would never miss an upload schedule. They would prioritize content creation over other fires in their business. And fundamentally, they would realize that content creation is your highest leverage activity. You create content, you get traffic, you get sales. And this is a very hands-off business. Once you kind of build up the systems, content creation is like the last leverage that still has to be done manually, but it's very high paying. So once I switch my identity to content creator, which a lot of people who are trying to go from 7 figures to 8 really don't think that way at all. They really are just stuck in I'm a business owner mindset, I'm a coach mindset. But if you switch your identity to I'm a content creator, you start prioritizing content creation over other fires in your business and you finally get off the treadmill. Now, I want to show you something that I created for you guys. You might find it helpful, you might not, but I want to show you. Let me pull it up here. I'm just looking for my little we go. I think it's down here. Perfect. Okay. So let me take this iPad off and let me switch my screen. And I just want to show you. So I made something for you guys. I basically created a step-by-step walkthrough on how to make money selling digital products. If this is something that sounds cool, if this is something that you want to do, this page actually says 600K, but in October and September, which were the last 2 months as of the time of filming, we actually did like $850,000 2 months in a row. So this 600K a month is a little outdated. It's actually closer to $850,000 a month. But I share proof of when was this? This was, I don't see what month this, oh, this was June. So this was back in June when I made this for you guys. And we've actually done $3 million since then, up to 15 million. So we're scaling very quickly, which I'm very grateful for. And I put this on here so you feel like, oh, she's someone that knows what she's talking about. You can also go to mariawinton.com/income proof and see my tax statements, which I share. I share bank statements, like anything that you would need to feel comfortable knowing that I'm someone that does this and knows how to show other people how to do it. So what's included is basically complete tutorials on how to get started. So I make tutorials that are like step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this. Very, very simple so that you can just follow the steps, which makes it a lot easier for you. I also show you how to choose the right digital product. Most people choose the wrong digital product, and that's why they never do well. That's why it never sells. I also help you pick a profitable niche so that you actually are selling to the right people who will happily, eagerly pay you, which is important. I show you specifically how to get your first sale doing this, and then more importantly, ramp up to dozens of sales per day. I really want you to get consistent. So I don't want you to have like a $0 day, a $0 day, and then $1,000 day. I want you to have $100 day, $100 day, $150 day, $100 day, $170 day. I want it to be very, very consistent. And so I show you how to ramp up to that. I share some of my really important automations that will be helpful, so it does most of the work for you. And then, like I share here, I do over 200 sales a day. And so I want to show you the path to scaling this if that's something you want to do. And then, as you can see, even just like with this YouTube video, I don't do a lot of tech. This is literally the webcam on my iMac. And so I show you how to do it with very simple tech. We tracked our average student who completed and implemented, and she did about $2,300 in their first 24 days. Results are not guaranteed. These students implemented. That's what we said. They completed it and they implemented it. So if you just get this course and don't watch it and don't implement it, you will make $0. But our average student who actually did the work did really, really well, which I'm really proud of. So if this is something that you're interested in, you can just click the link in the description and I will see you there.